The very first video I did on this channel was about the plants that I was beefing with. And today I'm doing an update because there are some plants that have been chancing me. Hello, my name is Melissa. Welcome to Plants and Things, where I talk about plants and things. So before I get into the actual plants that are chancing me, I first wanted to do an update of the plants that were chancing me back then, though some of them could still be chancing me. But anyway, I wanted to do an update first of those plants so you guys can see where they are and I can see where they are. And first up is this Syngonium Pink Perfection. And honestly, I'm still not convinced that this is a Syngonium Pink Perfection. I think that this plant is more like a Syngonium. It looks so similar to my neon Syngonium, and I think that that is what this is, because even the way it grows, it's vining. So maybe my beef is not with this plant anymore and with the person who sold me this Pink Perfection, but yeah, that's where I think I am with this plant. The leaves have been sizing up, and you know what, like, it's growing and it's living and it's easy to take care of and it's chilling. And besides obviously the disappointment that it doesn't look like how I think it ought to look for the price I paid, for what I was told the plant is, it's honestly okay. Nothing to write home about. So I'm not beefing with it anymore, but it's also not like top of my list of plants that I love. So yeah, like I'm saying, it's a plant that lives in this house. I sometimes think, oh, should I like sell the plant? And then I'm like, what if this plant is like the ugly duckling story where, you know, like, it's not ugly, but what if it's not what I thought it should be, and then one day it just becomes what I think it should be? You know? So I think I keep on being like, wait. What if it happens next? What if it happens now? What if it happens now? And that's the reason why I have not gotten rid of this plant. Yeah, and the leaves are pretty. I just really don't like how it starts off like this pink, this pretty pink, and then as it grows older, is that even the word we use? It like goes green. I don't like that. But God made the plant, and yeah, the plant is growing and it is not troublesome. Although I think I did see some like pest on it. So now it's kind of in semi-quarantine because I'm not dealing with, like, I just do not want to deal with pests. So it's kind of semi-quarantined. But yeah, it's a plant that lives in my home and we are on okay terms now. And next up, actually, on the list of plants that I was beefing with was the Bothos Enjoy, and that story did not end well. That plant no longer exists in that form that it was back then. So that plant's gone. But I did make a new Bothos with the propagations that I took from that plant, and I really, really love how that plant looks. So I'll show you guys that plant. But yeah, the original is gone. This is the Bothos Enjoy, and I absolutely love this plant. I love this planter. I love this combo. I've said it before, and the plant is growing really well. There's some roots coming out, so I am happy with this new plant. Yeah, obviously the other plant that did not end well. But I'm honestly happy that I just called it a day and started fresh, because seeing those naked strands was so frustrating. And yeah, so that's that plant. It's dead. It's gone. Next up was on the like plants and how they were chilling was this snake plant. And honestly, the problem was all on me. I did mention it in the previous video that the problem was really me, because this poor plant was just living its life and chilling, and yeah, and I potted it up and it still looks great. It is growing lopsidedly, but that's that on that. But which plants aren't growing lopsidedly, really? in this home. Yeah, it's growing towards the sun. So it's really pretty. I like the combo with the, yeah, I like it. And the polka dots. So yeah, I was the villain, and this plant is cute. Again, it's not my favorite plant, but it is a plant that now I'm like, oh, I'm happy to have this plant. Especially where it sits. I'm always like, oh, it's so cute. So yeah, completely my fault. I retract my beefing statement with this guy. Next up, and honestly now I feel like we're getting into dicier territory, is this, what is this called? Silver Splash. This plant was big, was huge. Then obviously I over propagated the plant, probably went into shock, didn't look great. And then I decided to, after making the initial video, to actually just downpot this plant, because I hate it when you have this tiny plant in this big planter. So I did downpot it, and now I love how it looks. I don't know whether it has grown a new leaf as yet, which is somewhat concerning, but I honestly think it's really pretty. Ah, there's a new leaf coming in. I like how it looks. I like how it looks in this situation, because it's not like, I'm not trying to pretend that there isn't a problem / that it's big anymore. I like how gorgeous it looks in this small planter. I also have a couple of propagations of this plant and I kind of wanted to put them together, but I'm also concerned that as soon as I do that, this plant is just going to be like, okay, cool, I'm out now, and I'm out for real, you're done. And so I think I'm just going to pot those propagations by themselves and see how it goes, because I also don't know what the roots situation is. But you know what? It's alive. It's keeping. I'm happy with it. I think it looks cute in this little cup planter thing. Yeah, especially because I always look at it from down there. I think from up high, like it was, yeah. From down here, it looks great. I especially love the splashiness of the leaves. So I do hope that, like in spring, which is September here, maybe it'll like burst forth and start growing really well. But yeah, I'm just honestly going to keep it like this. And yeah, so we're not beefing anymore. I can see why I fell in love with this plant, and yeah, I'm happy. Would I like to go back in time and not cut it and have it be huge? Yes. Yes, for sure. But for where we are, I'm happy that this plant is no longer beefing. It's no longer trying to kill itself. It's good. It's good times. Lastly, I was beefing with this Filodendron gloriosum, and this plant continues to be up and down. Right now, this leaf is keeping really well. I also sprayed it with insecticide because this plant keeps attracting what I think are spider mites, and so it also lives alone, so it has no friends living with it. And then it also took 1,000,000 years to take out this new leaf. Like, what is a leaf? This new leaf. It is really critical but stable, because I just never know. Like, it could just decide today that it's going to kill all the leaves. It's actually never not had any leaves, but it kills leaves. I'm surprised at how long this leaf has lasted, and also that it looks so good. Still very small, so I await the day when I will have these big, beautiful leaves. But I also am happy to just keep leaves. So in the initial video that I made, I think I had like 5 leaves. Some were looking crusty, some were looking better than others. None of the leaves from the original video where I was beefing with this leaf, which is like 3 months ago. No, 4 months ago. None of the leaves from 4 months ago are still here. So that's because this plant is determined to kill all the leaves. So I'm just happy that right now it looks happy. So I'm currently not beefing with this plant. And also, I guess I like to to also not be sad. I'm just like, You do you, I do me, whatevs. I think that's how I've come to like live with this plant, because I don't know exactly where this is going, but I do want to move it to my nightstand, because this plant honestly lives on its own because of the whole perpetual insecticide thing. And I think, yeah, I think that'll be great, and like have a grow light for it. So I still am emotionally invested, as much as I would like to think that I'm not emotionally invested, and as much as I would like to not be emotionally invested. I am still quite emotionally invested, and I do think the leaves are pretty. I'm like, they are pretty. I do think the leaves are pretty, but also I think even it's similar to the pink princess, where perhaps I'm keeping it because of the thought of what it'll look like because of how I think it'll look like when it finally comes to its own, and it feels more than ever that it's coming to its own, because usually when it brings out a new leaf, the old leaf starts looking crusty. So I think maybe that's what it's like plants. The emotional investment's like, one day it's gonna look so great. But for now, this is where we are. And yeah, it's not looking terrible. I also think this planter is cute for it, and I usually don't like plastic planters. Yeah, especially the terracotta ones. I feel like I've said this before, but I think this looks fine or nice, or maybe I've just gotten used to how things are. But yes, we're not beefing anymore, and the status is more than okay. It's probably, of the plants that I've shown, it's probably the Silver Splash, like in terms of how much I like them, how okay we are. It's probably Silver Splash, then this guy, and then the snake plant. I'm like, what are those plants? And then the others, which is like so yes, that is that one. Now to get to the plants that I'm currently beefing with. So when I made the first video, I had thought that I would do like quarterly updates about the plants that I'm beefing with, but I feel like quarterly is too often, that I don't want to like complain about my plants too often. And so this is an update. I will do updates as and when, I guess, the need arises. Anyway, so the first plant on my list is shocking. Shocking, because this is my favorite plant, and one would not expect to find my favorite plant on this list. But honestly, as much as I love this plant, and I've had it in the same position, which is up there, for quite some time, I don't like how it looks in that spot. And I think I've kept it there because there's a particular frame. I'll show you the frame. Like, there's a way, like when you look at the plant, that it looks absolutely gorgeous. But then there's a frame where like the backside, which is also the backside, for lack of a better word, which is also the like angle that you see the plant at when you're sitting on the couch and when you're in the kitchen, just looks terrible. So this plant looks great at the point at which it's looking towards the sun, but the back looks terrible. And I think I've kept it for so long because it looked really, really pretty from the front. But then I went off and did my cutting things, because it also grows so quickly and it grows into the other plants. And then I had to cut it, and it always looks so terrible after I cut it. And then I'm just like I love you, but you're just a lot. You're a lot sometimes. You grow too quick, but then you also don't like being cut. And then when it's cut, anyway. So I think I've kept it so long in that place, but I do not think it is a good plant for the spot that it is in, because it's too turny towards the sun, and it's also not a plant that's easy to swap around, because when you swap it around, just like a degree, it looks terrible again. And so yeah, I'm beefing with this plant. And I've decided maybe for sure to cut it completely. I have a million propagations of this plant, and I'm going to be cutting it up to make a million more propagations, because I genuinely do like how the plant looks. It also has sentimental value to me because it's a plant that I got from my grandmother's house. So I am going to keep the plant in my house always. But I think I don't like it when it's huge. I think I like it when it's in smaller pots, when it's flowering. And so I do think I'm going to keep smaller pots of this plant in my home. It's also a plant that I really, really love, and I love like giving to people, and because I just think this plant is gorgeous. But the main plant and me, it's not giving. So she is on her way out. And I honestly thought that was not the plant. That was a plant that I would never cut. And so I think I have been not liking where it's at, but reluctant to cut it because of the sentimental value and just how it used to be. You guys get what I'm saying. So that is the first plant on my list. I actually didn't say the name. It's my Plectranthus verticillatus, and the main plant, the main mother plant. Generally still love this plant, have a million propagations, will continue to propagate, will continue to love this plant. But the mother plant is done. It's the end of the road for the two of us. Second on my list is a plant that I don't even think I've featured on this channel. So it's like, okay, cool, you had that plant. It's my pilea peperomoides, and I will get it, and you guys will see exactly why we're beefing. Okay, this is the plant. I got this plant during the initial pilea peperomoides Chinese money plant hype. And anyone who knows about that hype knows how it was always like the plant was growing long, and then, you know, and this plant has never done that. Like, again, it's a whole thing where it grows a lot, and it grows a lot of like pops, and maybe somebody else wants this vibe, but I really wanted the like growing tall and then growing out vibe. And this plant never did that, which, you know, okay, you know, plants should grow how plants grow. But I think that was an initial disappointment on my side. But anyway, I kept this plant outside because I found that it likes a lot of sun. And then now it's like, I almost said spring. It's autumn/winter. I actually think we're going, yeah. And it did not like the cold, and it started shedding all the bottom leaves. As you can see, the leaves are, and it's been in the house now for at least a month. Goodness. Now like things are falling off because it's not getting sun, but it also, there's no spot for it to get like a lot of sun inside the house. So I honestly don't know what the plant wants. But it's also just too busy. It's just too busy. This is another plant that I've decided to cut up. Slash, I don't know whether this is a plant I kind of want to keep. I don't want to cut it up because I think when they're smaller, I do kind of like it. I did have a smaller one that I gave away. And I also want to experiment with it because one of the interesting things is like, I want to experiment and see whether you can grow them from the stem. But anyway, generally the plant is falling apart. It's falling apart, and I don't think it's on me because I kept the care the same and the seasons changed. And maybe it just is the fact that it, like, when seasons changed, some plants shed their leaves, and maybe that's also the thing that that has been annoying me slash is annoying me about the plant is like every single year I'm restarting this plant. Like there was one year where, not on the plant, but there was like, because it lives outside and it likes it outside because it wants plenty of sun, and there was a hailstorm or like really, yeah, and the plant was like done. Like the hail hit all the leaves, and then I had to take all the leaves off. So it feels like I'm going through the same thing of having to take all the leaves off. And I'm like, when are you just gonna grow up, plant? So yeah. And yeah, like I'm saying, it's falling apart. I've decided to cut it up because I just am like, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want. I can't give you what you want. So I'm going to cut it up and sell it. And hopefully other people will enjoy it more than I enjoy it. Because as I discussed in my, I guess like yeah, like why are we keeping plants that are just doing a lot? And I know that wasn't proper sentence construction. I was like, I had 10 thoughts coming at me at the same time. And then I was like, in conclusion, this plant and I are beefing because this plant is falling apart. It wants to fall apart every year, which I guess also, I keep on saying that, but I guess that's what plants and trees kind of do, like seasons. It's how God made seasons, and plants do that. But I'm just like, I want to see progress. I want you to be bigger. And so perhaps I'm beefing with the plant's maker. I don't like, but I'm just like, in order to not beef, let's just like separate ways. So that's the second plant on my list. And I'm going to put it away because it is dripping everywhere as well. Like, basically, can this plant do any right? Next on the plants that I'm beefing with is actually kind of hilarious. And it's my marble queen pothos that I was filling out the other day. Things took a turn, I don't want to say for the worst, but also not for the best. And the plant is not having it with me. And it's just looking terrible, and every other day I want to cut it up, but I'm not going to. I am not going to cut it up until the spring at least. Yeah. I will, it's not here right now, so I will show you that plant. This is my marble queen pothos. And as you guys can see, the stems have become bare. Yes, this, because the original reason why I filled out the plant was to fill out the bald-headedness, and it's not bald-headed anymore. But you know what? Totally solved one problem by creating another problem, because now this is bald, and it basically became bald almost immediately. Like, these leaves started falling, and yeah, y'all can see, and even at the top, possibly still are falling. Honestly, I have no idea. It was really sad. These ones look like they're trying now, but oh my goodness, when am I gonna learn? Last on the plants that I am beefing with is this filodendron sordo. And I think the story with this cat is the same as the story with the gloriosum, where I perhaps sold myself dreams by what I saw other people have, and this plant has not been living into any of those expectations. In fact, this plant is not even bothered that it is not living up to my expectations. It's like, I'm doing me and you do you, and let's see where we get. That's how this plant has been acting. And yeah, see for yourselves. I'm lost for words. It's just, it's not giving, but then I'm also like, I don't want to get rid of it. It's the story of my life. I am those possibility girlies, like the possibilities. Like, I don't want to give away the thing because of the possibility of what it could become. And that's where we are with this plant, where I'm like, I'm not giving it away until, yeah, or selling it or whatever. But it's honestly very meh. It's meh. It's meh. This one time it brought out this leaf. This is its only perfect leaf, in fact. First time it did this bucket leaf that where water gets stuck. And now it's been doing whatever it wants. Like, look at this. Anyway, so it brought out this perfect leaf, and I thought things were taking a turn for the better. They were not. So yeah, this is the last plant that I'm beefing with. And yeah, for the most part, honestly, things have been so much better with the plants. Yeah, I think things were critical but stable at a point. Critical but stable, or maybe critical not stable. Just critical. And now we're in a critical stable situation. I don't know why I'm showing you this plant again. That is it for today. Thank you guys for joining me once more. I thoroughly enjoyed making this video and slandering my plants because they can't say their side of the story. And in general, I think I've been enjoying making the videos. So if you enjoyed the video, if you are beefing with some of your plants, please let me know which ones they are, and I will see you next time. Bye. you.